So that is a straight part in this graph, and that object decelerating will be shown as this graph line. So that shows that speed of the object is decreasing. Okay, moving on to this part, so we can have some discuss some questions, practice questions. So we have this graph line distance against time, and we have mentioned some pointers here over a time of 25 seconds and a distance of 60 meters. So part A, what is the motorcycle doing between points D and E? So between D and D, we have a straight horizontal line. It means distance is not increasing between 20 and 25 seconds, so object is stationary. Part B, between which points is it accelerating? So accelerating, what can we say about BC? In BC, we have a straight vertical line. So that means speed is constant. Object is not accelerating in BC. So object is accelerating in AB. You can see that speed is not constant, speed is increasing. So it means object is accelerating in AB. D, what is this steady? What is this steady speed? So steady speed can be calculated in BC, object is moving at constant speed in BC. So that can be calculated from the gradient of the graph. So if gradient is changing from 10, so we can have two values of y from 10 meters to 50 meters. So distance covered in BC is 50 minus 10 upon 15 minus 5. So 50 meters distance covered in 10 seconds. So that will be 5 meters per second. Okay, you can solve it yourself also. Part E, what is the distance traveled between A and D? A and D. Now this is like a trick question. So students may try to find out the gradient here looking at the question. So distance covered between A and D is simply 60 meters, or distance covered between A and E also is 60 meters. You can take the reading from the graph from y-axis. Is asking about the distance covered. What is the average speed between A and D? So average speed is total distance covered upon total time taken. So that is 60 upon, he's asking about A and D. Yes. So 60 meters covered in 20 seconds. So that will be 3 meters per second of average speed. Then we can have this question. It shows a speed time graph. Part A, what is the motorcycle's maximum speed? So maximum speed is the maximum reading of the speed on y-axis, that is 30 meters per second. What is the deceleration during first 10 seconds? So that is what is the acceleration during first 10 seconds? So you can find out the gradient from this graph for first 10 seconds, that is 30 minus 0 upon 10. So that will be 3 meters per second squares of acceleration for first 10 seconds. So you can find out the gradient yourself. That will be 3 meters per second squared. What is the acceleration in part C? What is the D? What is its deceleration during the last 5 seconds? So deceleration is speed decreasing from 30 to 0 in last 5 seconds. So that will be 30 upon 5. Will be 6 meters per second square of deceleration, or acceleration of minus 6 meters per second square. You can see what the is. What is the what distance is traveled during first 10 seconds? Part D. So distance traveled in first 10 seconds will be area under this triangle, under this graph line. That will be a triangle. So half into 10 into 30. 150 meters. 150 meters will be the distance covered in first 10 seconds. Part F, what is the time taken for the whole journey? That is 25 seconds. What is the average speed of the whole journey? So for this, you will have to find out the total distance covered by the object. So total distance covered by the object for this triangle part, distance covered is 30 half into 10 into 30, that will be 150. And for this part, for this For this rectangle part, distance covered will be 30 into 10, that will be 300. And for this part, distance covered will be half into 5 into 30. So 15 into 5, that will be 75. So total distance of the journey will be 450 plus 75. 525 meters will be the total distance covered in 25 seconds. So average speed will be 525 upon 25. So you can solve it. What will be the average speed of this object? Okay, moving on. What do we have next? We have a couple of more questions. For example, this one, speed time graph of a moving lift. What is the maximum speed of the lift? That is 10 meters per second. For how many seconds does the lift move? So for 25 seconds, lift is moving. How much speed does the lift gain in first 10 seconds? So that is 10 meters per second. What is the acceleration? For first 10 seconds, acceleration will be 1 meters per second square. What is the deceleration of the lift in last 5 seconds? So that will be 10 upon 5, that will be 2 meters per second square. So you should be solving it yourself using the formulas and putting in the appropriate units. I am covering it at a larger pace, but you must be solving it. Okay. Okay, this question, what does the portion of the graph between O and A indicate? O and A. So that's a speed time graph, and this straight inclined line means object is accelerating uniformly. What can you say about the motion of the bus between B and C? Between B and C, bus is moving at constant speed. What is the deceleration of bus between C and D? So what is the deceleration? So you'll have to calculate it, 20 meters per second to 0 meters per second in 20 seconds. So that will be a deceleration of 1 meters per second square, or an acceleration of -1 meters per second square. What is the total distance traveled by the object or by the bus in 100 seconds? So for this, you will have to calculate the area under the graph. So that will include this part, O to A, that will be a triangle. Then you will have to calculate the area under the graph AB, that will be a trapezium, or you can further divide it into a triangle. So find out the area under this graph. So find out the area under this triangle OA, area under this part of the graph AB, that will be a triangle. Then we have a rectangle, then we have another rectangle beneath BC, and then we have another triangle beneath CD. So finding all the areas and adding those areas will give you the distance covered by this object, by this bus, in 100 seconds. What is the average? Then you can calculate the average velocity. So you need to solve this question as well, and you can share the answers in the group to verify that.